And my apparently my foot pedal isn't plugged in. Right, hey, look at all that jitter. Now you can see what I'm dealing with. Welcome to 36th App Lab, where we talk about Shoot, Video, Pencil, Beat Sheet, and CueCam. We've got a private Zoom. We've got a public YouTube stream. If you've got questions, just put them in chat or stick up your hand on Zoom. I guess my foot pedal isn't plugged in. So I don't know if you can see this, but the CueCam is not ready. It's doing this. So so basically at the end of last week's session, I just thought, right, let's do some final performance tweaks and figure out why it's sometimes a bit jittery and why it doesn't seem quite 100%. And little did I know I was going to end up in a rabbit hole. I don't think my audio is in sync either. I'm not sure. Little did I know that this rabbit hole was a bit deeper than I was expecting. I just thought, like, I get to the end of the prod, get towards the end, don't optimize prematurely, start doing it now. I've discovered a couple of things that are really difficult to solve easily. So I've been doing some very long days and getting increasingly more upset as I realised that I cannot ship CueCam this week, which was what I was hoping to do. Basically, I sat, on Thursday I started trying to record some demo videos, and I was like, these results aren't good enough. So I'm taking a leaf out of Nintendo's book when they announced that Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda would be delayed by like a year, and everyone went, okay, because I think it's better to ship something that's good, that lasts a long time, than to ship something that is just like not good enough. And I think I'm hoping, we're going to Italy on Monday, so it's probably a bad idea to ship and then immediately become slightly less available. So, yeah, I've just had to take a bit of a deep breath because it's just not, there's these frame jumps and there's audio sync and there's it's just not coming through smooth. So I've spent a lot of time on it. So I just thought I'd share what some of that looks like with you, so you can sort of see the process. So if I come to my desktop, which hopefully should spare us the worst of the jittering. I see we have a waving hand from Nobby. Welcome. So yeah, basically on Thursday I started trying to record things, and then I sort of take a recording and I go through and I'm like, oh, look, I'm pressing the key and I'm like, oh, that's 2 frames the same in a row. So I'm going forwards back here and it's 2 frames the same. And I go around and I'm like, just trying to do test runs, and I'm starting to notice, and you can see it on here, this crazy jitter as well. So it sort of goes forwards and back in time. So I start trying to dig into that. And these are basically all the recordings I've taken as I've tried different things. So one thing, I tried one thing which, I noticed that the transitions, when I changed one thing, I noticed that the transitions were kind of, if I just, whenever I'd sort of triggered a transition, we'd get a little freeze. So you see, each time I kind of stepped through, there was little freezes. So that was one issue I was dealing with. Why am I not? You see, and the thing is, because I've been so low level in all this, I've sort of broken a couple of features here and there as well. So for some reason, I am not in a circle because reasons. I start kind of trying to get a bit more, a bit smarter about this, and I got a little test card app, and I could sort of go through and I could see, oh look, 2 frames the same, 2 frames, so I'm going backwards and forwards, so I'm sort of seeing how often it's happening. So you see it's sort of just, and it's not super, but it's just a little quality. I think this is not acceptable, that it's giving you the same frame twice in a row, maybe twice a second. This is not what we want. Then I sort of started, comparing it. So I just did a side-by-side in eCam, took a recording, and now we can really see my camera is on the left. This is just the plain feed from the same camera. You see, like, this one's moving. This one's, like, stuck. So I start kind of like, I'm gathering all this data, figuring, like, just trying to sort of see how often it's happening, see what's happening. And it's like, this is just not good enough, is it? And I'm trying different things. We're sort of like seeing what happens under different scenarios. I start like really, sometimes when things get bad, you just go, okay, well, let's throw optimization to the wind for a minute and just see what happens if I ramp up my memory usage. Does that like change everything? And you can see like I'm in different. This is like I've come home now and it's like it's like nearly 9 o'clock at night. I'm sitting on the couch. You can see like there's some TV on the TV which is reflected in this camera that I hold up. I'm just like, anytime I have an idea, I'm kind of like firing up my little thing, trying a little tweak, holding the thing up to the camera, and whatever I do, like 3 frames, look, it just seems like it's not getting all the frames. And yeah, so this just continued. I did sort of this thing to try and see, like, to separate the camera feed from the rendering. So there's a little cube spinning here. I'm on the couch again now in a different position. But so this cube you see is like spinning continuously. Oh, actually, it's not in this case, but in other cases. So now I can sort of differentiate between. So just to sort of like fill you in on what all the steps. Well, what I can show you is in fact, like, maybe it's easier to just show you the steps, because I ended up doing a lot of instrumentation, really getting the hang of how instruments works. So this is Apple Instruments, and it took me a long time to get to such a sort of clear picture of what's going on. But this is me sort of like starting to instrument every frame, essentially. So you can see, like, here are all the frames, and sort of from top to bottom we've got the sort of render loop. So this is like 1/30th of a second. So this is like one frame, and I can see, okay, I drop in, I start rendering the frame, I start composing the thing, I start rendering it, I draw it out, and then I send it to the camera extension. So the camera extension is a separate process running on the system. So then I'm sort of sending from the camera extension, and I can actually track that process at the same time. So I can see I send it off here, and then the camera extension is checking it every frame, or it's actually checking it more often sometimes. But I can see, okay, now it gets it, it's picked it up, and now it's going to sort of send it off to the client or whatever. So I see kind of like, okay, I'm sort of making my frame, and as long as between here it's getting, like, picking up the new one, I kind of know, okay, there's my frame, like, there's my next frame. It landed here, it got picked up by the extension here. We're all good. Like, it seems, and I can sort of see the variability of the different processes. So I can see, like, the average duration of, is there like a 33? I'm starting to, like, I'm sort of seeing what the average duration is, the sort of standard deviation of how often these things are coming in. And I'm really able to trace, like, in microseconds, like, where everything's happening, and starting to get a feel for how long each different process takes. So, I can block threads and see what happens. I can sort of copy memory, see what happens. But yeah, so so there's the and I'm trying different things. Like, if I drive it from every time the camera gets a new, if I get told if there's a new frame coming in. So if I just drive all the updates from a new frame has come in, why would there ever not be a new frame being displayed? So I'm sort of like really sleuthing along and really just wondering why nothing I'm doing is working. And I've sort of got an app. I eventually made a little app like this, which was just, I wanted to just, it just counts up, so I can literally see, like, what frame number. And I can see, like, I'm ahead generally, like, of what eCam's displaying. So I found that quite interesting, but I'm still like. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's like piling up the frames and so that it can evenly spread them out. But I tried, like, every technique under the sun. that I could touch on in a few days. Just trying to get this thing to render, and I've basically come to the conclusion that, well, it's so the thing that lets me do this nice effect is Apple's Scene Kit framework, and it doesn't seem to like. I actually made a really minimal Scene Kit app to put the camera feed into a thing, and I kind of got the same bug without any of the other beat sheet stuff going on, without the camera extension. And so I'm at this point, like, I still have an idea here and now. Maybe I can sort of force it to redraw. Maybe I can like jump onto different threads. Maybe I can do different things. Maybe I can try running it. Yeah, there's lots of different things you can try, and I sort of do them as I think of them. But I'm sort of, at this point, I've reached out. I've put a support ticket in with Apple to try and get one of their people to kind of like shed some light on, is it even possible to render a camera feed in Scene Kit? Because like I'm not doing, like I could have rebuilt this whole thing just in bare metal, straight metal, in the time that I've taken debugging it at this point, and just not used Scene Kit. But I just like what Scene Kit gives me is the ability to just like set up animations. I can pull in, it makes certain things easier. But if it's just not going to work with the camera for some weird reason that is I can't figure out, then I'm just going to have to take a different tack, and it's just going to take a little bit more time. So this has been my life for the last few days, just sort of gradually getting more and more sad, like with just that I can't seem to, whatever I try, it's kind of like, this I ended up putting you see, like I'm actually behind, so I'm like building up frames, saving them all, copying them all, and yet, like, it's sort of, like sometimes it kind of skips one, or like displays one twice. So and then like depending on different things I do, it will like jitter and jump ahead in time as well. So, but that was something that feels a bit more manageable. That feels like something that I've kind of got on top of through this sort of instrumentation, making sure that it's not like building up frames and then going a bit mental. But I've just been really deep in this because I don't want you to be compromising on the quality of the videos you're recording. It needs to be super slick. It needs to be, it's 30 frames a second. I would like it to have a 60 frame a second switch, right? So when we kind of look at this, there's no reason this couldn't be. In theory, I'm kind of pushing it here, but I'm sort of like letting this take a long time just to try and figure out what's going wrong. But there's no reason to think I couldn't do two of these in the same time and just like double up the frame rate, if you were doing sort of demos where you wanted that 60 frames a second thing. But for now, like I've just had a lot of trouble with this, and it's quite surprising. But so that's where we are with Q, and it just has sort of blocked me on creating the content I need to create for the website and creating those. Like, I don't even need videos. I do want some videos, but even just, I can't ship it like this. So as I will pin Jeff Cohen, agree, rather wait for the ready version. And I think it's the only thing to do. Like, I don't want to ship something that it comes out the gate, like, because I've been very focused on the features and getting that UX like really clear, and I think that's looking good. I've sort of done I have still been tweaking the UX a little bit. There are some like gaps, but I kind of know where everything lives now, so that's the main thing. But like, so you see when I've got this view now of these buttons. So when you've got the camera preview here, they're on the side. But if you haven't, but the camera's running, and I've also consolidated everything into. Oh, sorry, I wasn't showing you it. So the buttons on. The buttons will now show along the top like this if you're in the camera preview. So these are the sort of live sort of interaction if I just want to add some text. And then I've got rid of the pink button on top and then the second button down here. Now it's all just one big button, and then the stop button is there and the back button is there. So I think this feels a bit neater. I guess it sort of maybe looks a little bit maybe if I put this underneath it looks a little bit complicated with all the audio stuff going on, but this is a sort of compact like feed of am I not showing it? What happened? Oh, because I clicked on something. Yeah, so I think this is looking all right. So the other thing that I was going to talk about was so the stroke previews. By the way, like, questions, please come. The stroke previews. So you see here. So traditionally, Video Pencil, when it shows you a stroke preview, once you finish drawing, you'll see it changes a little bit. So if I've done a thick line, but you can't see. Oh wait. Yeah, like you see, it's not quite the same stroke, and it changes when it's finished. I came up with a crazy hack, like to sort of make it so you see now as I'm drawing, you can see the stroke difference changing, and this is what I want. But then I found that then a couple of people reported that there were problems on certain iPads. Sharon's finishing in her job, so I've got to give back this iPad. So this morning, I went to the App Store, the Apple Store, and I have an iPad. 10th generation iPad, and I have got the same problem happening, so I have started looking into that today. I thought I haven't quite fixed it yet, so I haven't actually solved it yet, but at least I think I know what's happening, and I can see that it goes pink when it goes wrong, and that was the main thing that I wasn't able to really test. So that's some progress on that. I have this thing. I'm not using it because it doesn't work as well as the old iPad with Video Pencil at the moment, until I can fix that thing, because I do like the kind of the strokes to be strokey. So the next thing I thought I would talk about, just like blog. I've had a couple of. I just thought I'd like share some blog posts that I've sort of written up this week. So one question someone came with. So I was in a doctor's office, and sort of they asked, as part of their patter, like, I said I sort of said I made this app for teaching, and they were sort of complaining about being on Teams and everyone's video being quiet. And I said, yeah, it's a thing that lets you draw, and it's good for teaching actually. And so they were quite interested in the idea of that. And I realised I didn't really have a blog post, which is how can I draw on my camera in Teams on Mac. So now there's a blog post, how to draw on camera in Teams on your Mac. If you've got an iPad and a Mac, it's easy to draw on your camera. Just install Video Pencil Camera on the Mac. Select it in Teams, install Video Pencil on your iPad, and then I've just got a couple of links. So that blog post, I'm hoping like that gets a bit of SEO. And then the next one was someone was asking me how can I set up a clear drawing on my Mac, on my Stream Deck, to clear the iPad when I'm using Video Pencil. And here is that quick guide. So you install Video Pencil Camera from the Mac App Store, you go into the shortcut sidebar, and you allow Video Pencil to connect to Video Pencil Camera, and then each of these things on the sidebar, you can copy the deep link, you can create a website button in Stream Deck, and you can just paste that URL that you get there, and then when you press the button on the Stream Deck, it's going to like clear your iPad, and you can do that with the same as the other controls. So this is pre-CueCam technique. This is available now, like rather than like you can do this in CueCam as well, and it's all a lot better. And the Stream Deck plugin lets you select which thing and do a lot more, and it's got icons and it shows the right. The tools have the right icons on the Stream Deck, all that kind of thing works. But for someone that just wants to have a button on their Stream Deck to clear the thing, that's doable. That's I thought that's blog posts of the week. So maybe I'll make that as, I'll try and like as I answer questions, always try and spin up a blog post, and then I can just like go through those on the stream as well and see if that's clear for everyone. I see a question from Neil who says, will there be additional text formatting options for both BeatSheet and CueCam, color placement, extra bulleted formatting, etc.? So there's currently you can select the font, and you can select light mode, dark mode. I am cautious about. I don't want this to become Canva, right, or Keynote. I want it to sort of feel more like a text editor. I don't want it to feel like this rich text editor where people start formatting things and then the format goes out of sync between slides, and things just get a bit. I don't know. I think things get ugly quickly. It's sort of like I don't want to sort of like, and I feel like it's never quite enough. Like if I start adding piecemeal little changes, it's never going to give you quite the thing that you were hoping to achieve a lot of the time. And you would just be better off jumping into Figma, Canva, something like that, and just making it to look exactly how you want to make it. If you really sort of have strong opinions on the colors and the fonts and the layouts, just like generate it somewhere that you have control over that, because there's a lot of UX complexity to kind of providing all that sort of stuff. And I think it sort of ultimately doesn't necessarily benefit presentations to have all that control and all those different colors. That said, like what I am interested in is I was working on this presentation and then I wanted to add some text in, but it was just like didn't show up on this. It was clashing, or it was like the fonts, or it just never fits, or like I want to see sort of specific examples of where the sort of minimal controls weren't enough. Like on it, like it just doesn't work. Rather than like just I start like how long is a piece of string? It turns into Photoshop. Like I don't want to do that. Like I want it to be, I want you to be able to type some text in a box, and I want CueCam or BeatSheet to like make good decisions for you and sort of keep that looking like all right. So that said, like I'm always, I may have, the more ideas I can think of. The more like if you do jump into Discord, that's Squares TV Discord. Where's my thing? Always go squares.tv Discord. Always like discussions having here, like open things up, like share your screenshots, show me where it's wrong. So Neil's followed up with. Could you at least have the ability to change the font size for the heading and bullets? Currently, the font sizing and font are system-wide. So you actually, let me see if this is working. Yeah. So if I just bring this up. Oh, this isn't actually going to help unless I come up here. So you currently can set the font size. Well, I think I've got this in BeatSheet and both, but you can set the font size. You can basically increase the overall font size. Yeah. So the way I see this being used is you kind of like you have your slides and you kind of tweak it so that like if you do happen to have a lot of long words and it's just always breaking too early, that you kind of bring it down a little bit overall. But like stuff's going to look better if this font size is consistent between slides. So I don't really want to like make it so you start like changing the font size every slide and like I think it's better, and I'm happy to talk about this. I think it's better to tighten up your language than to change the font so that some wordy language fits in a small space. Right? This is a philosophy I have. It's one that is kind of baked into the DNA of CueCam and BeatSheet. I just think, like, edit down your copy. Like, so many problems can be solved with just, like, another draft of the copy. And I think the temptation is to go and solve it with the tech and change it and change the colors and change the size. So that's just where I'm coming from, but I'm happy to discuss it on Discord. I like that we've actually got questions coming in. I see, yeah, I do fear word art. I just feel like, I just don't want it to look messy. Although I see that, even with the minimal control I have, people still manage to make it look messy sometimes. So it's like, I just need it to, design, layout, typography, it's basically impossible to automate. So I'll come on to the next one. I see. Tim says, along the same lines as clear screen command, is there maybe a VP set of presets for the Stream Deck, like clear stream, preset, media clip, play to pause point? Right. I do want to do this for CueCam. I do want to set up the. I do want to like have a good sort of sample Stream Deck layout for CueCam because I can set that up. Because these are like video pencil yeah, maybe I could do one for BeatSheet as well. Actually, I think I can bundle those in. Let Let me, let's maybe, can you, I don't know, if, I will definitely do that actually, because it's another thing where I've sort of like honed on my sort of basic. I've got like my Stream Deck Mini and my foot pedal, which apparently the foot pedal wasn't plugged in, which is why some things didn't work at the start. I do have suggestions of how to set it up. So I would say yes. So it would be amazing if you could add that into the Discord as a thread on a suggestions thread, so we can keep track of it. Or I can just like, I just need to. Well, maybe I'll just add it in. Like maybe that's what I can do. We can collaborate on this. So like, why don't I I'm thinking like on the beat sheet suggestions. Like let's just make a new thread, which is provide a default template Stream Deck profile. It can include video pencil stuff if we want. Okay, so I've made a new topic thread on the thing. Right. Okay, so with that, so like, if you've got any more questions, jump in. But I think I'm not gonna like drag this out. So next week, I'm actually like, I'm gonna tinker a bit, but I'm kind of waiting for Apple to get back to me with an appointment to see if there's any answers on this scene kit question I have. And if not, that if it's just not going to work, then there's a million other ways to do this. And like literally, I'm just making squares, and I've already written the shaders for all this, so there's no reason I necessarily need to be using scene kit for all this. But it would just be nice to be able to use scene kit, because it just gives me these animations and things for free. But like I was programming animations, frame animations, in 2005 in Flash or whatever, 2006. So like it's not like I don't have techniques for doing that. Like I had an animation library back in 2008 that just sort of worked in a lot of the ways that core animation works now. So like maybe if I have to do it, I have to do it, and then at least I know exactly what's going on. But it's sort of one of those things where it turns out that there's a little wonky thing in Apple's thing, and there's no documentation, there's nothing. Like it's crazy. But we are traveling to Milan on Monday, so I think like next week's stream will probably just be a brief hello from Italy. I don't anticipate having a lot of updates next week, and then like when I come back again, like just if you can like pile up some questions, stack up some questions in Discord, like that would be great, that I can just like run through some stuff. That would be really cool. If anyone's got any thoughts, like I don't know, do we need something that's just like devoted to the stream where I can start building those up? Or do I just sort of turn it into things? Paul, I'm gonna put you on your audio on, and then go ahead.
All right. What about using Mukana for questions?
It's definitely a good suggestion. The only thing is I find, sorry if you will have heard yourself echoed, I think, but it won't have been on the stream. The only thing with that is like I want to include people on YouTube, and I've found that if you're not in the office hours world, it can be a little bit hard to know what the heck is going on. So I'd sort of rather have something. Although I think if I could get the new office hours, that the new interface where you can just jump on and say your name and do the thing. Like I don't know who I need to talk to or like what I'd have to do to make the Mukana thing work. But yeah, I mean it'd be amazing if we could sort of bring that in somehow. Especially with the new, it's a bit easier to use now, isn't it? Like I think it's been updated so you don't have to sort of have the account and log in and do all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a good suggestion. Thanks, Paul. But if not, like we can just do it on Discord. So yeah, speaking of Discord, next slide. That's it. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Always, yeah, like I do appreciate the little the little group we have here. And just when I think no one's going to come, oh look, John During is making some special effects on Zoom. I've just upgraded my phone, but I haven't looked at it yet. You see, it's literally got hello like showing up because I haven't actually used it yet. Sorry, I need to go behind it. Yeah, so with that, thank you everyone for coming along. Oh, there's supposed to be music playing. Is there not music playing? Let's try it again. There are still some bugs beyond like the crazy performance things. Let's hit that. I'm going to do my workaround. I'm going to come forward. Yeah, there we go. Okay, with that, thanks everyone for joining. See you next week, hopefully. Have a great few days. I'll see you soon.